Hey everyone, it's Ricky Molina from the Ricky Molina YouTube channel. I decided to do a video today to share with you a little personal experience I had with regards to buying an acoustic guitar. I needed a guitar to record some strumming parts and just some nice straight ahead, typical country kind of western-ish or finger picking type of thing. That had a little bit of depth and a nice sort of mid to low range, because you can always adjust the tinniness or the high end in a DAW with an EQ or compression and adjust that in the box, so to speak. But there's really no replacement for giving a guitar a nice sort of punch, I think anyways. So I needed a guitar for that, and it didn't have to be exorbitant or anything like that, because I've played Martins in the past and some very high-end guitars. I actually have a pretty good acoustic for melodic soloing type of thing, made by Froggy Bottom, which is a pretty darn good guitar manufacturing company located in New England. But I needed something a little more down home. So I was like strolling through an antique shop area not too far from me, and I discovered like an Epiphone acoustic hanging on the wall, and it was really beat up. It was missing one or two strings, and it was kind of dusty looking. But nevertheless, I decided to check it out, and I began to notice that it had a really nice, comfortable feel. First of all, and I sort of imagined me replacing the strings and playing it, and it really wouldn't sound all that bad. So it was good enough for the studio, and they were asking like $75 for it before haggling. But I kept the guitar in mind and decided to check out some guitars at the local Guitar Center and Sam Ash, which is one of these major franchise guitar stores. So I was in Sam Ash the other day, and, I walk into the acoustic guitar room, and there are all these guitars, everything from low end to high end. And so I tried out, to get some perspective, I tried out a couple of 6 strings, steel string guitars, acoustics. I was not looking at any of the other type of things. I kind of ruled out the fact that I didn't want an Ovation or to spend all that much money necessarily. Keeping in mind that I had checked out the Epiphone at the antique store. So I tried out guitars that were as low as $120 all the way up to $3,800, just to get some perspective. I tried out Gibsons with and without a built-in pickups, so you can plug in and record directly, or plug into a PA system without having to use a microphone, as I am here today. I tried out Gibsons, I tried out Yamahas, Martins, some of the best Martins you can buy, Taylor. I tried out Takamine, and a Fender, and as I mentioned, I also tried out the Ovation. But then I noticed that there were a couple of Epiphones on the wall as well, ranging from a 200 guitar was on sale for $129, and there was also a higher end model as well, a couple $100. And I tried everything out. I mean, I was in there for a couple of hours, just strumming away, finger picking away, tuning everything. They must have loved me for having had somebody tune all their guitars for them. But I tried them all out, and I tried out the very high-end ones as well. Like there was a Martin there for about $4,000. And yes, one could say that the Martin was probably the best guitar in the shop, because it really felt great, and it had an awesome sound. Nice, rich, full sound. Pleasure to play, really. But I used to have a Martin years ago, a D18. Ever since I listened to the Steve Howe Fragile album many years ago in my teens, I really felt as though, you know, I had to get a D28 or a D18 or something like what Steve Howe was playing. And I got a D18 for a reasonable price way back in the early 80s or late 70s. And that was my go-to guitar for many years. I really didn't play jazz in those days. I played mainly classical and rock. You know, I had my electric guitar. I had a pretty good acoustic now. And the acoustic guitar became my sort of go-to guitar. It was my main guitar. I played it the most. That was my D18 from Martin. And, you know, it wasn't, you know, an exorbitant or, you know, amazing out of this world guitar, but it had a very nice sound and it was very playable and comfortable for the most part. And over the years, I started thinning down the strings. I started to use lighter strings, sort of like to make life easier for your fingers, because steel strings are just, compared to jazz guitars and electric guitars, steel string guitars are really hell for playing, for practicing, and really, you know, you can only go for 2 hours on an acoustic steel string as far as I'm concerned these days. When I was younger, I could go for 3 hours or something like that, but steel strings really affect the way you play. So I tend to play more jazz guitars these days. But I came across this Epiphone DR-100 at Sam Ash. And like I said, it was on sale from $200 to $129. And this is the DR-100. I ended up buying it. As you can see, it's a beautiful guitar. And it has nice tuning pegs and a great fretboard, beautiful spruce top, mahogany wood, and it's just, the finish is gorgeous. This guitar by Epiphone, the DR-100, was perfect for what my needs were. And you know, this guitar reminds me so much of the old D18 that I used to play from Martin. And I don't say that lightly, because I played that Martin for many, many years, and I had to sell it only because on a flight back from, a connecting flight that I took back from the West Coast back to the East Coast, I saw the baggage handler just throw my Martin case, guitar case, onto some luggage rack, and it like fell off the rack and it hit the ground. And when I got back to New York, the entire arch was shattered in many places across like lines of broken wood, and the top was completely detached. And I was just like, you know, wow, this is really a tragedy, because that was my main guitar at the time. And I did get reimbursed from the airline after much protest. They didn't really honor my request at first. I had to fight for months to get my money back for the damages. And I did pay for a repair guy from Central Connecticut, a luthier, who was just a master. And he put this whole guitar together, that broken D18. He put it together and it looked like almost like new. I kid you not. It looked like, I don't know how he did it, but he managed to reconstruct things and glue things back together. And he did an awesome job. And but you know, the guitar never really quite sounded the same after that point on. And it was kind of like, for me, very difficult to sort of play that instrument anymore, for other reasons as well, but mainly for that reason. The sound was never quite the same, although it, you know, looked okay. So I ended up selling it and trading it in for another guitar. But this guitar here that I recently came across at the Sam Ash store, it just looks almost identical to the D18 that I had from Martin. And you know what? The sound is pretty darn awesome for the money. This guitar is made in China. And I've noticed that recently a lot of guitars are coming out of China over the past few years, and they're getting better and better and better at making them. And you know, this goes for jazz guitars, electric guitars, and acoustics. And I was like, okay, well, let's try this guitar out. It's $129. What can you lose? And so I started to play it in the store. And would you know, after playing and trying out all those different models that I mentioned, Gibson, Yamaha, Martin, Taylor, Takamine, Fender, Ovation, only the Martin that was $4,000, and there was another Martin for like $2,500, could beat this guitar in terms of its playability and its sound quality. I am not kidding. This guitar matches, at least matches, with the majority of the guitars that I tried out at that guitar store. And you're probably wondering, like, oh yeah, right, and everything. How can a $129 guitar match a $2,000 or a $1,000 Gibson or a $2,000 Gibson? Well, you know, selecting a guitar is really personal, and you really have to try out many different models and come back and not do it. I recommend that you take your time when you buy a guitar, and don't just go there with the intention of buying the first time around. Really just try to play things and come back and think about it, and then like say, okay, yeah, this one's really worth the money, or this is the one that I really like to play. So one of the telltale signs that I use as sort of an indication over the years as to whether I really want to invest in a guitar is whether I end up playing it in the guitar store for a good amount of time. Like if I can't put down the guitar after half an hour, 45 minutes, or an hour without taking a break, then it's likely that I'm going to buy that guitar. And that was the case with this guitar. And you know, I tried the Gibsons. I tried like the Taylors. I tried some of the Martins, like I said. And of course, Martin is, in my opinion, for what I like to play, is my favorite guitar company for acoustics. But everybody is different. And I like to stress the fact that it's all personal. I cannot say that this guitar is going to be your best guitar just because I liked it in the guitar store. But some of the things that I look for, and I am not a luthier by any stretch of the imagination. I know how to do basic fixes and how to install strings and things like that, and what to listen for and look for damages or things that need to be adjusted over time. If I could bring it to a guitar guy to fix it over the years, like action or truss rods and things like that. You know, there's certain things that are just beyond my capabilities, but I trust my ears and my playability. If I feel comfortable, if you feel comfortable playing it and it sounds good to you, then that's a very, very good sign as far as whether you should buy that instrument or not. And I'll just play it a little bit so that you get a little more ideas to the sound of it. But it's just like amazing. I really have to hand it to Epiphone and the factory in China for doing such a great job. The fretboard is very playable. The nuts have been filed down perfectly. They have a really good sound, and the spruce top just really reverberates, and it gives me that mid to low range that I was looking for. So like. There's the intro to one of those Queen songs. So there you have it. This is the DR-100 from Epiphone, $129 on sale. I don't think you can beat this deal. It sounds awesome and it plays great. What more can you ask? This is just an example of just like how it takes time to find some bargains out there, and you can find them if you look hard. But it's not necessarily how much you pay for the guitar that matters. It's really, you know, don't worry about the looks too. You don't need all those fancy engravings and any of that stuff. This guitar, you know, it does the job. It sounds pretty darn good. And I just wanted to share with you this experience that I had where price doesn't always mean that you get the best deal. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. This is Ricky Molina from the Ricky Molina YouTube channel. Please check out my music also on RickyMolinaProductions.com. I do, not only do I do educational videos whenever I can share something with you, and also like product reviews like this one, but I also write original music, and it's all of all different styles. So it's like everything from orchestral to like something with a beat, rhythmic, Latin, jazz oriented, all sorts of things, kind of ambient music too. I've got a children's story called Ellie out there, which was really a pleasure to write the music for. I hope you enjoy it and check it out and share it with your friends. Thank you so much and have a great day.